the game could see the boxing voice.
All 6 fighters that will be televised on NBC on Saturday night, April 16th. The TV will begin at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. This event's taking place at the beautiful Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Tickets for the live event, which is promoted by DeBell Entertainment in association with Star Boxing and sponsored by Corona, start at $25, and they can be purchased online at Ticketmaster.com, BarclaysCenter.com, or by calling 1-800-745-3000, and they're also available at the American Express box office at the Barclays Center. Thanks all for joining us. We're going to get started with the co-feature of the evening, which is the WBO Cruiserweight Championship between champion Krzysztof Głowacki and Steve USS Cunningham. Głowacki made a big splash with his Fight of the Year performance against Marco Huck by spectacularly knocking Huck out in the 11th round to capture the world title after having been knocked down himself and rising like The Undertaker does in WWE promotions. It was really one of the more remarkable turnarounds I've seen in a world title fight. You could expect 29-year-old Głowacki to receive heavy support on April 16th from the large Polish population in Brooklyn as he fights in the U.S. for the second time. He had a sensational record of 103-9 as an amateur before turning pro in 2008. The esteemed Polish Peter is on the line, and he'll function as Krzysztof's translator. And I'm going to let the champion Krzysztof Głowacki say a few words first.
Krzysiu, parę zdań, jeśli mógłbyś powiedzieć takich wprowadzających, czego oczekujesz po tej walce?
Czego oczekuję o tej walce, tak? Co mogę oczekiwać? No, najważniejsze, że jestem dobrze przygotowany, dużo rund sparingowych już za mną, także do końca zrobimy ze 110, 115, bez na pewno wielkiej formie i czego mogę oczekiwać? Wspaniałej walki. Chciałbym, żeby kibice, dużo kibiców było, jak i polskich, tak i amerykańskich, żeby kibicowali mi. No i oczywiście wygramy na koniec.
First of all, I'm so happy that I'm able to fight again in the United States. I am expecting to deliver another great fight. I hope the both Polish and American fans are going to be watching me, support me, because I want to deliver the great fight. I have more than 110 sparring rounds already behind me. Very tough fights, perfectly healthy, absolutely ready to come to United States and defend my title.
Thank you. Thank you, Krzysztof, and thank you, Peter. Steve USS Cunningham, I'm not going to say a lot about him this time. Enough has been said. He's one of the most known commodities in boxing, 2-time world cruiserweight champion, 39 years old, but with a lot left in the tank, trained by brother Nazim Richardson, a veteran of the Navy, and, you know, you guys all know all the rest, and this is absolutely a very, very strong challenge to Głowacki's title, and in a fight that I expect to be extremely entertaining. So, Steve, please.
Yeah, I'm very excited to, have another opportunity at a world title. Coming back down to cruiserweight wasn't difficult at all. I was a cruiserweight fighting heavyweight, so I'm just ready. I'm always ready. I'm always prepared. I'm always in the gym. We're preparing for Głowacki. He's a formidable foe. He made, like everybody's seen, he made a big splash his American debut, and people are going to want to see live up to that. So, we're going to get together. We're going to make some fireworks, and my goal is to be 3-time world champion, and please the fans and television. So there we have it. I'm going back in. This is not new territory for me, but it's a new opponent. So we take him very serious, and we don't look past anything.
Thanks, Steve, and I'm going to open it up right now for questions because that's why you guys are on. Moderator, questions, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star one on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star one on your telephone keypad. And can you give me one moment while I wait for callers to join the queue, please? And our first question is going to come from Keith Idek from the Record. Please go ahead.
My question is for Steve. Steve, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. I was just wondering what you thought of Glowacki's performance in his last fight. Obviously, it was a fight of the year candidate and a very exciting fight. What did you think of what he did against Huck in that fight?
You know, it was impressive. You know, you got a guy who went down early in the fight against, Marco Huck is a champion that he was working on breaking a record that fight. So he had a lot of steam behind him. Marco Huck is a formidable champion. He will be remembered as a great cruiserweight champion. But Glowacki stepped up, he got up off the canvas, and he stayed the course, and he stopped the champion. That's how you beat the champion. You know, a lot of people want to see champions beat like that, and Glowacki gave everybody what they wanted. So, like I said, he's nothing to look down on because we haven't seen him fight in America before, or he's somebody. We always take every opponent serious. So we're gonna come prepared, and it's just wartime.
Steve, how much respect do you have for a guy like that who got off the deck against a guy he wasn't supposed to beat? You've been in that position yourself and done that. So what do you think of that?
I think it's awesome. I mean, you have like you said, I've been in that position myself, so I know I know the motivation and drive he had behind him. In order to to go through and fight a guy like Marco Huck. In front of so many fans from his home country here in America. So. He was driven, that fan base drives him. I know he'll be driven on 16th, but I'm driven also. Like I said, this isn't new territory to me. I've been there. I fought in Poland twice, so I fought in Germany numerous times, South Africa. So I'm really not used to fighting at home. But when I fight at the Barclays Center, I will be closer to home, but it's going to still feel like Poland, because those fans, his fans are going to outnumber. They're gonna engulf that place and inflame it with the cheers of Polska. So, like I said, it's not new to us. It's not new territory, but new opponent. Little things we tweak up in camp, and come April 16th, it's time to get in there and show it off.
Steve, when you were fighting at heavyweight, did you always think that you would give cruiserweight another try and go back down?
No, I didn't. In actuality, I never thought I'd be heavyweight. My initial goal was to, stay cruiserweight and do my best, do my part to put the cruiserweight division on the map, here in America. Because, as you guys know, when I was a cruiserweight champion, there was no attention, no love, no television, no anything for a cruiserweight. So my goal was to, try to help put the cruiserweight division on the team, be the best cruiserweight and make good fights. But it's like I got elbowed out of the cruiserweight division. Even with the belt, I couldn't unify. And then I lost my belt. I knew guys wasn't fighting me even then. They knew how I lost my belt wasn't right. So the only way I could go was up. I couldn't make light heavyweight. So heavyweight was it. But after heavyweight, after I was there and I was able to compete with these guys, became national USBA champion, and I felt I got robbed a few times from stopping me from getting that number one spot. I felt I was going to stay heavyweight, but then we realized it's like, hey, these judges, they're not understanding what you're doing to these big guys. They like their heavyweights to knock guys out, throw a couple punches and somebody's on the ground. You got Steve Cunningham there running punches. I'm throwing 700, 800 punches and flipping, countering, and that's not a heavyweight to them. So, the team, Heyman, my wife, my manager, we all sat down and just like, hey, let's just go, let's just do the cruiserweight thing now and make it happen from there.
Do you feel you're done with heavyweight at this point?
No, I still think there's a possibility, because you guys know I can go up and I can compete with those big guys. I floored the heavyweight world champion right now with one punch. That's Tyson Fury. So, I can compete. He won that fight. I can compete with these guys. I beat some big guys, or some heavier guys, some good heavyweight fighters. So, Lord willing, we win this title, we beat this man, and that could give me a quick shoot right to some titles, right to a title fight at heavyweight. But that's always a possibility. But the major thing is beating Glowacki on April 16th.
Thank you, Steve.
All right.
And our next question kind of comes from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hey, Peter, could you ask Christoph, after the fight with Marco Huck, the great comeback against him, was he at all disappointed that he had to stay out as long as he did? Because my understanding is he had some injuries that he suffered in that fight.
Yes, done, right away. Krzysiu, po tym zwycięstwie nad Marco Huckiem odniesionym w rewelacyjnym stylu, jak bardzo byłeś zawiedziony faktem, że musiałeś mieć tak długą przerwę ze względu na kontuzję. Jak to wyglądało, jakie miałeś odczucia?
Znaczy, byłem zawiedziony, także ta kontuzja, jednak tam 7 mm tej kości łydeczkowatej mi brakowało. Bardzo długa kontuzja, już byłem niecierpliwy, tak, chciałem wrócić do treningów, a nie mogłem. Także gdzieś tam cały czas coś robiłem, jakieś biegi czy coś na siłowni, ale gdzieś był głód tego boksu, jest cały czas głód boksu. A to gdzieś to jest zaprocentowało, tak, bo teraz jestem właśnie, byłem głodny tego boksu, żeby wrócić. Wróciłem, cieszę się treningami, cieszę się każdą chwilą i cieszę się, że wracam właśnie do stanu walczyć. Dziękuję panu Hajmonowi i Gibeli, że wzięli mnie z powrotem na galę, także na pewno ich nie zawiodę.
It was very frustrating. I wanted to be back sooner than later, but my doctors were telling me that this was a 7 mm break in my hand, so I couldn't basically do anything. I was trying to do everything. I was running. I was spending some time in the gym, but obviously not boxing. But maybe there was a lining in this, sort of a lining in disguise, because it makes me so unbelievably hungry to actually be back right now. So this is my time, and this time away makes me even more hungry than usual. I want to thank Mr. Hyman and Mr. Gibella of making the opportunity for me to fight again in the States.
Peter, I would like to know from Christoph, which hand did he break, and was it only his hand? I also had thought maybe there was an elbow injury involved. Was it just the hand? Which hand was it?
Krzysiu, co to była za kontuzja, którą ty miałeś?
Brakowało mi 7 mm kości łydeczkowatej w nadgarstku. Także miałem przeszczep kości, teraz wszystko się udało. Mam
prawa czy lewa ręka?
Lewa. Także przed walką mi po prostu na sparingach pękły kości, pogniły, także na walce z Hukiem nie miałem tej kości 7 mm, aż mi brakowało, także...
Okay, this is very interesting. By the way, I'm hearing about this so specific first time. So this injury actually happened. It was a left wrist injury. Actually happened last week of sparring before Marco Huck, and there was a part of the bone missing, 7 mm bone, which has to be transplanted again into his left wrist after the fight. So this was the extent of the injury, and it looked very bad for a long time, but now everything is perfectly well. So it actually happened before Marco Huck fight.
Okay, and so my other question for Christoph is this. It was such a great fight, and he had so many fans rooting for him in Newark. It was a very large Polish crowd there. I'm wondering, I know the Polish fans are, very passionate about their fighters. How big of a deal was it back in Poland? How well received was he when he went home? Is he a big national hero now? Can he walk down the street? Do people know who he is there?
Krzysiek, oczywiście to było wielkie wydarzenie w Stanach Zjednoczonych, ale jaki był odbiór tego wydarzenia w Polsce? Czy zostałeś bohaterem narodowym, czy możesz spokojnie chodzić po ulicach, czy ludzie raczej ciebie poznają? Jakbyś mógł opowiedzieć o tych wrażeniach, które masz już w Polsce po zdobyciu tytułu mistrza świata? Krzysiek? Hello?
Hi. Hello. Any more questions?
Well, I asked that question, though. I don't know if Christoph maybe fell off the call.
Well, let's find out. Krzysiek, słyszysz nas? I think so. He got disconnected. Sounds like it.
Okay, if he comes back, maybe you could reiterate that question.
So, of course, but I'm not sure if he got disconnected or something happened. But I don't think so. Anything happened on his
Christoph
side.
is reconnected.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Krzysztof?
Tak?
Krzysiu, słyszałeś pytanie?
Nie słyszałem właśnie, nie słyszałem.
Okay, so I have to repeat the question, guys. Sorry about it. The question from Dan Raphael, ESPN was, okay, well, I am speaking English. Okay, Polish. Krzysiek, jakie było wrażenie i jakie było odczucia twoje po powrocie do Polski? Czy zostałeś bohaterem narodowym? Czy możesz spokojnie chodzić po ulicach i jak odebrano twój sukces w kraju rodzinnym, czyli w Polsce?
Znaczy, przyjęli mnie niesamowicie, tak? I policja, straż, wszystko, ludzie zachwyceni, także z kwiatami na lotnisku, wszędzie, także naprawdę jest niesamowite uczucie. Fajnie i na pewno będę chciał teraz też tak wrócić z pasem, także coś niesamowitego jest, fajne uczucie w ogóle być mistrzem świata w porównaniu jak wcześniej byłem, tak, bo nikt nie znał ani nic mnie, a teraz każdy rozpoznaje, każdy się uśmiecha, gdzieś tam podchodzi, miłe słowa, czy ktoś gdzieś potrzebuje, nie wiem, jechać gdzieś, także zawsze jest łatwiej.
Yeah, the difference was unbelievable. When I arrived in Poland on the airport, there were people with flowers. There was a police escort to my hometown. Everybody was so happy, and it's unbelievable feeling to be a world champion. And believe me, all listening to us, all the fans. I want to have this feeling again, coming back after this fight. And I want to say that before I was relatively unknown. But it happened, it changes unbelievably right now. People smiling at me at the streets. They approach me. They want to talk boxing, and it's unbelievable and a great feeling to have.
Very good. Thank you very much, Christoph. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
And our last question is going to come from Michael Woods from New York Fight. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thank you. I appreciate the question was asked and answered already by Keith. Thank you.
So I guess we will thank you both, Krzysztof, and to Steve, and also to the esteemed Polish Peter. And we're looking forward to the WBA Cruiserweight Championship fight on April 16th at the Barclays Center on NBC. Again, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time start. Thanks, guys, for being with us. And now we're going to move on to the fight between Marcus Brown and Radojay Kalajic. Marcus and Hot Rod, are you guys on the phone?
Here.
Marcus?
Okay, Marcus Brown is on the line, too.
Okay. Hot Rod, you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. The Marcus Brown Hot Rod Kalajic fight will be a 10-round fight for the WBC US NBC Light Heavyweight Championship. Radojay Kalajic is 21-0 with 14 KOs. Fights out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Originally from Zenica, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. Turned pro in 2011. He's fighting in New York for the first time. Those wins over Donta Woods, Otis Griffin, Lionel Thompson, Rayco Saunders, Gilberto Dominguez, and Fabio Garrido. And this is he had a good amateur career, and he's an accomplished young light heavyweight. This is also going to be the most difficult fight and the biggest fight of Hot Rod's career because he's taking on a terrific fighter and 25-year-old southpaw, 2012 U.S. Olympian and three-time Golden Glove champion Marcus Brown. Marcus is 17-0 with 13 KOs. Turned pro in 2012. 8 of his 13 knockouts have come in the first round, and he'll be fighting at the Barclays Center for, I think, a record 11th time. He had 4 impressive wins in 2015 over Aaron Pryor Jr., Cornelius White, former world champion Gabriel Campillo, and Francisco Sierra. I'll start with Hot Rod, and despite his very difficult to pronounce name, Radojay Kalajic speaks beautiful English and has been here for a while. and you'll have he doesn't need any kind of translation at all, as you will hear. So, Hot Rod, say a few words, please.
All right. Well, it's you kind of butchered the name, but it's all right. It's ThaBoxingvoice, and I'm just happy to be fighting at the Barclays Center. You know, this is a big show, and I really got not much to say. You know, I'm just ready to fight, and I hope where Marcus Brown is, and I'm just here to answer any other questions that they got.
And I apologize for butchering your name, but it's not an easy.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
That's why I tend to just go with Hot Rod.
Yeah, it's all right.
And I'll turn it over to Marcus Brown.
Yeah, that's what's up. You happy to fight at the Barclays? That's what's up. This is just another step on the road to become a world champion, and they want to make it seem like, you know, he's the best fighter I ever faced. Okay, come April 16th, we'll see.
And we'll turn it over for questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. Again, *1 on your telephone keypad. And callers, I'm waiting for people to join the queue. One moment, please. And our first question is going to come from Lester Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My first question is for Marcus Brown. Marcus, I just wanted to ask, you seem to be aggravated with what you've been hearing in the media in terms of Hot Rod being your best opponent. If you could just elaborate a little bit as to why you don't feel he's not your best opponent to date.
I'm not aggravated at all, actually. And best opponent in a professional fight, yeah. But I'm talking about the best guy I've been in the ring with? Nah, not at all. And come April 16th, like I said, I'm gonna do the talk with my hands, cause yeah, that's how we we conversate in boxing.
Thank you. And for Hot Rod, I just wanted to ask, since you're from St. Petersburg, are you familiar with Keith Thurman? Have you been to the gym there with Dan Birmingham, and what kind of sparring have you gotten in that St. Petersburg area?
Yeah, I was there with him for one fight, with Keith Thurman training about a 6 to 8 week camp, and I got in the ring with him about 4 rounds. It was good work. He's a hard hitter, and that's about it. The hard worker. I've been in there with him 8 weeks for one camp, and a great, humble guy.
Now, for preparation for this fight, who have you brought in for sparring?
Lennox Allen.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. Well, thank you very much.
And for those who don't know, Lennox Allen is an undefeated super middleweight who campaigns out of New York City.
And our next question is going to come from Michael Woods from New York Fight. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking the time. Question first for Marcus. Marcus, I'd like your scouting report on Hot Rod. If I haven't seen him fight before, tell me about how he fights.
My scouting report. If you haven't seen him fight before, you can go on YouTube and watch it. But I see what I see, and come April 16th, I'm gonna exploit it, and that's about it. I'm not about to sit here and give details on what I see as a fighter. He's hungry, he's young, he's undefeated. He don't want to lose his O, just like I don't want to lose my O. And at the end of the day, that calls for fireworks in the fight. And that's about it for me. As far as me seeing anything or any little details, why would I tell you and tell him at the same time?
Great question, Marcus. Hot Rod, back to you. What's your scouting report on Marcus Brown? What's your assessment of him, strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I seen him fight on YouTube also. So, he got speed. He's got, obviously got power. He's stopped a lot of guys in the first round. And for the weaknesses, I'm not going to tell you that either. So, I'm going to just wait till fight night, and I'll show you.
Good stuff. Makes sense, guys. Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Stephen Castor from BoxersAndBrawlers.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Marcus. This is Steve Castor from BoxersAndBrawlers.com. When they brought this fight, you and the trainer Gary Starks, and they said you were fighting Hot Rod. Was Hot Rod even on your radar at that time?
media conference real quick.
Well, I've spoken. They threw his name at us like a couple months ago, and we said yes. And they threw his name at us again, and we said yes again. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a fight that for both of us in our career that it's essential. And you have to fight guys like this on the road, to becoming the champion. And but as far as him being on my radar, I mean, I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I never really heard of him, but he's young, undefeated, he's strong, got a lot of power too. So come April 16th, we're gonna be on each other's radar for sure.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And our next question is going to come from Justinio Lewis Jr. from Black Star News. Please go ahead.
Marcus Brown, Justinio Lewis Jr., Black Star News. Marcus, you and I have talked a lot, and you seem to be, you impressed me as a very talented and confident young man. Does the confidence and your boxing ability also stems from your Olympic experience? Because you fought internationally. That's almost like a pro experience. So when you walk into the ring pro now, is there a difference when you walk into the ring?
Excuse me, that's my daughter, but
yes, okay, I know she is a beautiful child.
Thank you. Nah, not really. The Olympics is the Olympics. The amateurs, the pros are totally different game. So you cannot go in there thinking like, I was an amateur, this, that, and the third. I'm gonna be a great pro.
Right.
Melanie, come on. Two total different, games, and all it takes is one punch. And at the end of the day, I mean, I've been in there with a lot of good guys at a young age. Sparring with Antonio Tarver guys. There's a lot of strong guys, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of champions. And I've been around guys, for as long as I could remember, growing up as a kid. Louis Colazo, Saddam Ali, Travis Sims, Danny Jacobs, being in the gym with all these guys. So, I mean, that's just the type of pedigree and the type of confidence that, that you got to have being around those kind of guys, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, the amateurs is totally different from the pros, and I'm not even looking at, what I did in the amateurs as like that's going to help me in the pros because, it really doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It all comes down to who really wants it more at the end of the day.
Right. Hot Rod, Marcus, you probably could answer the question too. You guys talked about knowing each other's styles or studying styles and all that, but Freddie Roach told me one time that after the training is done, he sits down with his fighter and they study films. And I asked him, well, do you study the styles of fighters? He said, no. I study the fighter's style, but I look for the mistakes that they make within the styles. Is that your scouting reports on both of each other, of seeing films of each other?
Well, I've seen it, like I said.
Well, either one can answer. Both can answer. I mean, I'm looking for the angles from both.
Wait. I'm in a media conference with Mark. Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yeah, okay.
Well, for me personally,
you're not going to give a strategy or what you see, weakness in each opponent of your opponent. But Freddie Roach told me he studies films, and the film is not styles, is what the fighter, the mistakes that the fighter makes fighting within his style. That's how he picks up the weak points, and that gives his fighter the advantage. You guys both follow that philosophy of not studying styles, but picking up the weaknesses, as having seen each other fight on film.
I mean, I've seen Dom fight a couple fights on YouTube, and I know his weakness. So we're not really focusing on that. We're just focusing on what I'm gonna do. We focus on my game plan, and how to exploit his. I mean, I've seen a couple of weaknesses, so we're working on the myths, or with my coach on his weaknesses and stuff like that.
Marcus?
For me, how do I say this? Coach Lav. That was one of my Olympic coaches. He always told me that a guy always is gonna make the same mistake. You know what I'm saying? So you just let him make his mistakes and worry about what you're gonna do. So I mean,
I really don't really study guys like that because, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about what we're gonna do. But you know, I've taken a look and I see what I see, and that's about it. You know, for me personally, I'm not gonna sit here and go off on a limb and say like, you know, like I come home after the gym and put them in, you know, in my laptop and watch them. No, that's not what I do.
I see. Well, God bless you both. God bless you, and be safe. And hey, whoever wins. But I'm still on both your sides. Thank you very much. God bless.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And our next question is going to come from Mitch Aberson from TheRingTV.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. I have a question for Hot Rod. Hey, Hot Rod, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Just curious, if you had heard of Marcus Brown, you know, coming up, and just what were your thoughts about him, and just what were you hearing about Marcus as he was coming up as a prospect?
I haven't really heard about him until a couple months ago, and like he said, they offered me a fight, but I didn't take it a couple months ago. You know, I had my reasons, but they offered the same fight again this time, and I took it. But that was the first time I heard of him a couple months ago. I didn't really hear about him before.
When they offered you the fight the first time, how come you didn't take it?
I wasn't with my right coach. I was with, like I said before, with the other questions, I was with Dan.
Okay.
I'm with my original coach from the amateurs that taught me everything, and I feel like he's the best in the world. So when they asked me to take the same fight this time, I felt confident. I took it.
So you were being trained by Dan Birmingham before, and now you're being trained by your amateur coach?
Correct. I'm sorry, it wasn't Dan. It was Peter Fernandez for the last fight. When they offered me the fight last time, it was Pete, not Dan. That was my mistake. But yes, Dan had been trading me for one fight, but I wasn't with Dan when they asked me for that fight.
All right. And is there any fear just fighting in Marcus' hometown? You know, having being in his just fighting in Brooklyn.
No, I'm actually excited. You know, I fought a lot of my fights in my hometown, and I want to get away. You know, have a crowd against me, see how that feels like. So I'm excited because it's only gonna be me and him in the ring at the end of the night. So I'm actually excited.
Yeah, question for Marcus. Hey, Marcus, how you doing?
It's good, man.
Good. Just curious. I mean, Marcus, do you take it as kind of a slight that everyone is calling this your toughest fight, and everyone is making a big deal about this? You know, the fact that you're facing another undefeated guy. You know, just like you're saying. I mean, you've been in the ring with Danny Jacobs and had a long amateur career.
Nah, not at all. I don't take it personal. This is boxing. This is what the sport calls for. And at the end of the day, like I said, he is basically my toughest opponent as a professional. He's young, undefeated. He's strong. He's hungry. He's coming from where he's coming from. You know, we got a family to feed, and so do I. And we're both undefeated, and that calls for fireworks in a fight, plain and simple.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
And the last question for this group is from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I have a question for Marcus. Hey, Marcus.
What's up, Dan?
Not a whole lot. My question for you, Marcus, is this. You're fighting on the same card, on the undercard of your Olympic teammate, Errol Spence, who I believe if he wins this fight is maybe one, maybe two fights away from a shot at the title that Kell Brook has. No member of the Olympic team that you guys were on has won a professional world title yet. But there's a few of you guys that are close. You know, you may be with a couple of fights. Certainly Errol, maybe Jose Ramirez. Joe Diaz has a big step-up fight coming this weekend. My question for you is this. Have you given any thought to, the fact that you could be in a good position to maybe become the first member of your Olympic team to become a professional world champion? Is it something that you've ever thought about, or something that maybe when you guys were in the Olympics and were just, hanging out, dreaming and talking about the future, did it ever come up about that sort of thing? I'm wondering, if there's any kind of unspoken competition there to become the first guy to get that world title as a pro?
Well,
the reason I ask, by the way, is because I've heard in past Olympic classes of fighters I have covered and interviewed have spoken about that sort of undiscussed thing that it's sort of like a competition there, and I wondered the perspective.
Yeah, definitely. But becoming a world champion has been my dream since I was a kid. Coming up in the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, I mean, of course, you know, you would want to be the first out of your team, you know, to become a world champion. And that's always something that, you know, me and guys like, you know, Errol or Jamel or Nuke, you know, Rasheed Warren or something, you know, of course, you know, we'll whisper it here and there, you know what I'm saying? But most importantly, our focus is April 16th and that fight only, and then whatever happens after that is all a part of God's plan. But, you know, that's all I'm focused on right now. And I can't look past this guy. I'm not going to let, you know, any little competition between me and my teammates make me look past this guy because he's live and he's coming. And at the same time, you know, he's coming to Brooklyn, and like he said, he's excited, and so am I. And it's gonna be a great fight. Honestly, that's how I feel personally.
You mentioned Jamel Herring and Errol. You mentioned nobody. Did you say Nuke? Who was the third fighter you were talking about?
No, Nuke is Rasheed Warren.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure about that. Okay, so you four of you guys would talk about that sort of thing when you were.
Not all four of us like in like the same room, but you know, like we'll have our little moments, you know, when we're alone, and I'm like, man, I'm on your ass. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know, like with somebody like Errol, I'm like, I'm right on your heels. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you and Errol are on this. Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
I'm listening.
Well, I was going to say, you and Errol are on the same card on Saturday, on April 16th. So maybe when you see each other at the weigh-in or the press conference or anything, you're going to maybe get into that a little bit with them?
No, not really. By that time, it's just all about, you know, being focused and locked in on what's in front of you, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, of course, you know, after we've gotten wins, you know, I've sent them a text or whatever the case may be, or we've hung out, you know, if it, you know, the time was permitted to, you know, hang out with each other. And, you know, of course, you know, brothers, you know, they say, I consider all the guys on my Olympic team my brothers for life, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, you know, it's going to be that friendly competition to where you, like I stated before, I'm on your ass.
All right, very good, Marcus. Thank you very much. Wish you good luck on the fight.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, that was it for Marcus and Hot Rod.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks, Hot Rod. And now it's time to move up to the main event of the evening.
Perfect.
I think we have
good day.
We have both. Errol, you on the phone?
Yeah.
Chris, you on the phone?
Yes, I
am. Chris is promoted by Star Boxing, Joe DeGuardia, Star Boxing. I'll let Joe just say a few words if you'd like about the main event.
Thank you, Lou. I'm just pleased to be back at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, where Chris has had so many exciting fights, and back on PBC and on NBC. We're looking forward to this fight. It's ironic that it's been less than 2 years that Chris burst upon the scene, and within those 2 years he's become a real veteran, and now he's fighting a guy like Errol Spence, who's the upstart. So we're interested in looking forward to the fight, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joe. Chris Algieri has had a terrific career. He's beaten the odds on a number of occasions. He rose to fame in June of 2014 at the Barclays Center by defeating Ruslan Provodnikov for a super lightweight world title. After being battered around for a round, he showed his heart in overcoming those 2 first-round knockdowns and a swollen right eye to thoroughly outbox Provodnikov and win a world title. He just defeated Eric Bonet via unanimous decision in December, and before that, fought former champion Amir Khan in a close competitive bout last May that was controversial in the eyes of some people. In 2014, he traveled to China to challenge Manny Pacquiao, but lost the decision. This is obviously a big step up for the young lion, Errol Spence Jr., and, it's a weird situation for Chris, who's been a big name in the sport for a long time, but here, due to the great talent of his young opponent and the many people that have made him an underdog in this fight, Chris is in an interesting crossroads situation. So I'm going to let Chris Algieri, the pride of Huntington, New York, 21-2 with 8 KOs, former world champion, say a few words.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all coming out today and paying attention closely to this big fight that we got on April 16th. It's an honor to be back at the Barclays Center, and looking forward to putting on another great performance. I've had some of my best performances there at the Barclays. I believe April 16th will be just another one of those. And training is going fantastic so far. I'm actually getting more and more excited as we get closer to fight night, which is generally the case during training camp as game plans come together and fitness levels reach optimal. So, again, thank you all, and looking forward to April 16th.
Thank you very much, Chris. And now, this young man, he hails out of Texas. He was named Prospect in the Year for 2015 by ESPN and Sports Illustrated. He's a 26-year-old former 2012 U.S. Olympian, turned pro in 2012, 19-0 with 16 KOs. ESPN's Prospect of the Year, Sports Illustrated's Prospect of the Year, and the Prospect of the Year in the eyes of many, many other press outlets. This guy's a tough customer for anyone to face. And despite his relative youth and professional inexperience, he's widely considered one of the great young talents in boxing. Errol Spence, Jr.
Thanks, Lou. I'm just happy to be fighting April 15 at the Barclays Center. It's a great opportunity for me. It's just another, stepping stone for my career to get to where I really want to be fighting and winning the world title. Camp is going great. I'm already in shape. I'm already on weight. I'm just waiting till April 15 to put on a great one-sided performance.
Thank you, Errol, and I'll open it up to questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Please give me a moment while callers join the queue. And our first question is going to come from Mike. Please go ahead.
Errol, a lot of talent in and around this weight class, and Lou referenced you as being one of the top young talents in the game. I'm wondering where you see yourself right now. Do you believe that you are at the top among all the young talents right now, or does something still have to be proven? That includes against Chris on April 16th.
It's always something to prove. You always got to prove yourself. And, I do think I'm one of the top talents at all the young guys. But I definitely got to prove myself April 15. That everybody want to see what I got. They want to see. They want to. They got a lot of questions that need answering, and they want to see if Chris answer those questions. So April 15, I got to prove myself. That's my stepping stone. So, I'm ready for it.
And Chris, question for you. I mean, it's yet to be played out. We can say what we say on paper, but you able to say going into this how good you think Spence is amongst that crop of young talent, or really do you have to step in there yourself on April 16th?
Listen, there's no question the guy's good. I haven't fought anyone who's not good. At this point, at this stage of the game, everybody you're going to fight is going to be good. The kid wouldn't be here if he wasn't a damn good fighter. So, we're taking that into account and preparing the best way possible. But it's, you got a lot of pressure on it. A lot of people are looking to see how he's going to perform with a guy like me. And, it's a very difficult task to go from prospect to contender. Making those jumps is not easy for anyone in their career. And it just, you got to be careful taking big leaps. And I do believe that myself and my team believe that this is a huge leap for the Spence camp.
Good stuff. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. See you then.
And our next question is going to come from Mitch Aberson from theringtv.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. Hey, Chris, I have a question for you. How you doing today?
Mitch. Good, Mitch. How are you?
Hey, good. Kind of an off-topic question, Chris, but I'm just curious, with your background in kickboxing, and obviously you know about the MMA bill being passed here in New York, lifting the ban. Have you ever seen yourself at some point fighting in an MMA fight in New York? I know obviously it's not on your radar now, but I'm saying like down the road at some point.
No, that is a resounding no.
Okay.
I am living my dream right now. I am a professional boxer. That's what I saw myself when I was a child, as being a champion boxer. I realized that when I was a child, there wasn't UFC. I wasn't watching Randy Couture when I was 5 years old, thinking that I wanted to be like him because he wasn't there yet. So for me, it's boxing for me is a passion, and if the passion's not there, then there's no sense for me to compete in dangerous sports like this. So MMA is out of the question for me.
Do you think that might have been different, Chris, if the UFC was bigger when you were coming up, and if MMA was legal in New York, that maybe you would have been involved in MMA earlier on instead of boxing?
Yeah, I mean that could be possible. I can't say that. I can't say definitely not. If I grew up a different way, I was watching different guys that had different heroes. You never know. So, but it is what it is. And I'm a boxer.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the answer. And one question for Errol. Errol, I'm just curious. Chris made the point saying how jumping from prospect to contender is a really big leap. I'm just curious, what your reaction to that is.
I mean, it's the truth. It is. Prospect to contender. That's a big leap, but you got to go through it. It's a lot of effect of me. I'm a 2012 Olympian. I'm a highly rated prospect. So, that's the leap I have to do. That's what I have to do to get to, world championship status, top 5 level. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through any door that got open, I'm going to open.
Do you think too much is being made of taking that leap, Errol, that it's not, that for you it's not going to be that big of a deal?
Huh?
Do you think too much is being made of that jump from prospect to contender when it comes to you, that for you it's not going to be as difficult as maybe other people believe it is?
I'm not going to say it's not going to be as difficult, but, I mean, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, it's just a fight, so it is what it is. This is boxing. You got to get in the ring and fight another opponent. Of course he has a better pedigree than my recent opponents, but it's just another fight.
Mitch, to interject for just a second, like the thing about this card and what makes it such a compelling card, and the reason that people should be out there and supporting it and buying tickets for it and tuning into it, is that every fight on here has a legitimate storyline. Every fight on here is compelling as an individual matchup. Marcus and Hot Rod, 2 undefeated young guys. The winner takes a huge step up. The loser takes a step back. But it's that effort to prove that you've already eclipsed, being a prospect and you're moving into contender status, and that the other young guys are no longer enough for you to challenge you. So that's what both guys are trying to prove. Glowacki had that great win against Huck, but no one knew who he was going into that. Now he's got to get in there with a 2-time world champion who's going to try to take his head off and regain what he thinks is his. And Cunningham's a respected guy, a real veteran, and one of the toughest guys in the business to fight. That's a great storyline. And then, Chris isn't an opponent. He's a former world champion. And he's a guy that's been fighting on really the highest level of his career over the last couple of years, and probably right now at the top of his game and in his prime. And, Errol is so good that type of challenge is one that he's seeking right now, because he wants to prove right now that there's no welterweight in the world he's not capable of beating. Those are 3 compelling boxing storylines. This is a great boxing show, and it's not about any one guy's particular name. It's about 3 bouts on NBC in prime time at the Barclays Center that are all compelling fights.
And our next question is going to come from Rhett Butler from the Shadow League. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. What's up, Chris? What's up, Errol? Thank you for your time. My first question is going to be for Errol Spence. Errol, obviously much has been made about you stepping up the competition. However, this is the first fighter you faced with other real combat sports experience with Chris's kickboxing experience. Do you think, or are you wary of his inner will and tenacity to win due to his accomplishments in other combat sports, because you've never faced someone that was willing to leave sports and still become what he has become?
I mean, I don't know what the other sports got to do with anything. This is boxing, stick to boxing. I played other sports, football, basketball, soccer, But, this is boxing. Chris, he has a lot of heart. He has a lot of grit, too. And he always comes to fight. So, it's going to be a good fight.
Absolutely. And Chris, my next question for you: how was camp this go round? And I know you jumped around from New York to Vegas to South Florida. Where were you? Who were the players on the team?
I'm actually currently training in Boca Raton, Florida right now with John David Jackson. I started up camp back in New York with T. Trimble, and it's going great so far. A lot of great work. Florida has been kind of like my second home for training camps for the past year or so, and it's working out really well. Easy trip between here and New York. Just a few hours, jump on a flight, same time zone, so it makes coming back to the Barclays to go to work that much easier.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
And our next question.
Operator.
And our next question is going to come from Nestor Gibbs. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Earl and Chris. Earl, my first question is for you. Obviously, everyone's stating the whole prospect's a contender, but your trainer went a step above and maybe put a little more pressure on those shoulders of yours by saying that this win over Chris Algieri will come in better fashion than Manny Pacquiao's. He feels that you're a bigger, stronger, and more technical fighter than Manny Pacquiao. Can you give me your thoughts on your trainer and what he said?
I don't really too much know what he said. Only thing I know what he said, you just told me, but I am a bigger, stronger fighter than Manny Pacquiao. I am more technically sound. I think I'm a smarter fighter than Manny Pacquiao. But, there's no pressure, man. I don't have any pressure on my shoulders. I don't put pressure on myself. I'm just coming in just like it's another fight, training harder than ever. And I'm just looking to put on a great show.
In your knockouts, normally when you hit guys, they go down. You're a killer to the body, obviously. But Algieri has shown that he could get up. He's been hit by Manny Pacquiao 6 times and gotten up. Does that play in the back of your mind that this may have to go to 12 rounds?
I don't play in the back of my mind. I'm training for a 12-round fight. I'm not training for to knock him out or, hoping to get a stoppage. It's great if I do stop him, but I'm training for a 12-round fight. This fight can go 12 rounds, so that's what I'm training for.
Well, thank you, Earl. And Chris, for you, same thing. When I spoke to Derek James, he says, well, Chris Algieri, he faced Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao was moving up in weight. Chris Algieri was moving up in weight. Errol Spence is a natural welterweight. Errol Spence is bigger, stronger, more technically sound than anyone that Algieri has faced. I want to know your thoughts to that.
How you doing, Nestor? Thanks. The thing about Manny Pacquiao, it's tough to compare him to other guys. He's not like other guys. You can't stay there and go, his style isn't technically perfect. He doesn't do what you're supposed to do. His technique is not that great. It doesn't matter. He's made it work for him over how many years and how many weight classes. You can't do any kind of comparison when it comes to Manny Pacquiao and styles and preparation and being in a ring with a guy like that. Listen, I've been in a ring with guys who are bigger than Manny, guys that hit harder than Manny, but, Manny's a different kind of guy. He's a different kind of style. So trying to compare Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao stylistically or size is apples and oranges, to say the least. So I really don't take anything from that statement. And they're trying to compare guys in styles anyway. And styles make fights, and it's all about matchups. Boxing is a rhythm sport. You can't watch rhythm on a tape. You can't figure it out just seeing a guy. You got to be in with somebody, and the way that styles mesh is what makes boxing what boxing is. So trying to compare styles is, I don't think is relevant for this conversation.
Well, it was more about the size, the fact that Manny and Ruslan and other guys have been 140 pounders, where Errol is a natural 147 pounder.
My kickboxing record, a lot of my fights were actually at 154 and 147. So it's not my first time being in with the ring with true welterweights or true 54 pounders or even bigger, honestly. So, I've been in the ring with guys with big punchers, guys who are bigger, guys who have big bodies that, I've worked with over the years, even in sparring and training sessions, with much larger men. I never had a problem with punchers, never had a problem with bigger guys, so I don't foresee that being a problem.
Well, Earl and Chris, I wish you both the best of luck. I'll see you at the Barclays. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last question comes from Steven Kastner from ThaBoxingvoice.com. Please go ahead.
This question is for Errol and Chris. How do you guys feel on what's going on with the pros being able to fight in the Olympics? What is your feeling on that? And if you could explain it.
If you don't mind, I like the idea, because the headgear and the point system can kind of change the sport a little bit, make an amateurs and the pros almost as if they're two different sports, changes the whole style of the game. What worries me about that is that without the headgear, there's a increased risk for flashes of heads and facial cuts and lacerations, which can affect the pro in his career later. So we could have guys who are coming out of the amateurs with a great pedigree, but they have a bunch of scar tissue around their eyes, which could affect their in the pros down the line.
How about you, Errol?
I don't agree with it. I mean, they're taking off the headgear and they fighting grown men. You got kids like, Shakur Stevenson who just qualified for Olympics. He's 18 years old, and now he got to go fight a Russian or Cuban who's 35 years old. These are grown men. I mean, you getting cuts, and you guys can punch, and they fighting our kids, our teenagers, our 18, 19-year-old teenagers, and I don't agree with it.
Is that the last question, or is there any more?
Yes, we do have one more question from Michelle Rosado from TheRaisingBage.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Earl. It's Michelle. We've seen you very active. You fought 4 times on NBC, 3 on main NBC in the last 13 months. Is the goal this year to stay as active? We've seen a lot of fighters not as active as you. Can we see you more than twice a year? I mean, how many times do you think you'll fight this year?
Hopefully, I'll fight 3 times this year. I want to stay active as long as I'm healthy, and everything's going well. I want to stay active. I don't want to sit around and wait on different opponents or wait for this opportunity. I want to stay active, stay in the ring, and stay winning. So I'll be active this year.
Good. Algieri obviously has a little bit of a leg up in the experience department, but it's not because you haven't called out the bigger names. We've heard you do that. So from here on out, God willing, you get past Chris Algieri. Who's on the hit list? Is it big names from here on out? Can we expect to see that?
Definitely. I'm not looking past Chris Algieri. That's my main focus right now is Chris Algieri. After the age of 16. I call out whoever, but man, my goal was always to fight the bigger names. Even when I was, 15, 14 and 0, and I was fighting on Keith Thurman versus who was it? The guy from England.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? The bald-headed guy, the old guy. And I said I'd be anybody on the card. That was basically calling out those guys. So I've been calling out the bigger names for the longest, and keep doing it. But able to attain the main goal was Chris Algieri.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us on this PBC on NBC call. One thing I just want to say at the end, there's so much negativity that buzzes around our business all the time, and so many, people with something to say about everything. I just want to say how proud I am to be promoting this card, because I think that this is what boxing shows are supposed to be all about. 3 great fights, 3 fights with the outcome in doubt, 3 fights that have tremendous meaning for both combatants, and 3 fights with strong independent storylines. And I hope everyone comes out to the Barclays Center. Tickets can be purchased online, Ticketmaster.com, BarclaysCenter.com.
Ain't no other sight in the game could see the boxing voice.